Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. And yes, this time, we're not in Rise of Kingdoms. So yes, today we're doing something very different. We are reviewing the Hungarian Grand Prix. I know, such a surprise. Many of you didn't even know I was a Formula 1 fan. But first, I do have an announcement to make. So, guys, I'm still in school. Shock, horror. I know, none of you guys knew that, but that means that I've got exams coming up, thick and fast. So they are, they are coming up really quickly, and this does mean that I'm only going to start uploading once a week, so that I can focus on the more important stuff like studying and drinking. And now with that out of the way, back to Formula One. So first of all, I just wanted to say, what a race! A 15 out of 10 for sure. It was spot on. It was amazing. It was a great race. You know, everything. It was chaotic. It was crazy. Amazing race. I really enjoyed it, and I'm actually loving this year. I'm loving this championship fight between Hamilton and Verstappen, two of arguably the best drivers the sport has ever seen. And yeah, it's amazing. It's fresh to see Hamilton having a bit of a challenge for once. But another thing. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I am biased. I am a Hamilton fanboy and lover. Joking, joking. Just relax, everybody. Just relax. Regardless, it rained just before the race started. I mean, every Formula One fan in the world, when they saw those drops, they were jumping up and down. They were so excited. I was for sure excited. I love it when it rains because it always throws up a bit of a surprise. It always throws up a bit of a surprise, Two Red Bulls in Valtteri Bottas's case, but always throws up a surprise. But you know, I just there's no excuse for what Valtteri Bottas did. He outbraked himself into turn one and took out six cars basically. But this is not making excuses for him. He got penalized. He got a five-place grid penalty for the next race, and he deserved it fully. But in the rain, as a driver, you're going in. You don't have much information. You never know what the breaking point for turn one's going to be. Here's turn one down here, as you can see. So you never know what the breaking point's going to be. And I can understand maybe outbraking yourself a little bit, but braking so much later than everybody else, it's just not acceptable. You can't be classed as one of the best drivers, 20 best drivers in the world, and be making stupid mistakes like that. So yeah, no excuse for what Valtteri did. But after the huge turn one chaos, there was a red flag, and during the red flag, the track dried out a fair amount. I think it's fair to say it dried out a fair amount. So, Hamilton starting from pole position, um, all his rivals are out because of a very helpful teammate. um, you know, easy win for him, easy dub, right? Cue everybody diving into the pits over here on the formation lap to get to the grid to start the race. Everybody except for Hamilton. To be fair, he would have probably still come out last, even if he did not. Even if he did stop for a pit stop. But it was the weirdest thing to see him starting on the grid alone on intermediates while everybody was sitting here at the end of the pit lane on slicks. It was very weird, very strange. But regardless, Hamilton drove all the way around, stopped, put on some fresh slick tires, and dropped all the way to the back of the grid. And he drove a stormer of the race. He was on brand new medium tires. He caught up really quickly, but the problem was once he caught up, he couldn't get past because of Hungary itself. So we've got Hungary up here on my laptop here, and I'll show you the problem. The problem is you can't overtake here. The two overtaking spots, right? Main straight because there's a DRS zone, and then this straight here because there's another DRS zone into this corner. and maybe a few moves up in here into turn 4, right? Well, the problem is, to get the DRS zone here, you need to follow through this whole section here, this whole midsection. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Hungary. I think Hungary is a great track. It's an old track. It's got history. You know, it always throws up a bit of a surprise here, there. It's got character. It's a nice track, especially this section here, because it's all these really fast corners flowing one into the next, and that's great for a driver. But what it's not great for is dirty air. So the problem is the drivers can't follow closely through here. They just couldn't. They drop back a number of tenths through here because of the dirty air. And then that means they're not in the DRS zone for the main straight here. Or this straight here for that matter. So what that equated to was the car in behind having to be 2 to 3 seconds a lap faster. 2 to 3 seconds. Try to comprehend that real quick. 2 to 3 seconds. It's just ridiculous. But I think there's enough focusing on Hamilton's race here. Let's go to the top 3. And I was focused because I'm a Hamilton fan. I'm focusing pretty much on Hamilton's battle throughout. And I'm looking up through the grid. I'm liking what I'm seeing all the way until I get to the top 3, and I see this: Ocon, Vettel, Latifi. I mean, really? What a podium! Well, they didn't finish on the podium like that, but what a top 3 running, and it lasted like that for a long time. I was really surprised. And Vettel was arguably in the faster car the entire race, but the problem was he wasn't that much faster. So the problem is the gap would ebb and flow between 1.4 and a second, and just go backwards and forwards between him and Ocon. And they drove, Ocon looked like a veteran leading in the front of the race. He looked like he was on a nice Sunday cruise, like he's done this before, and it was the first time he's ever led a Grand Prix, and he ended up winning the Grand Prix later on. And we'll get to that later. About now is when, so around lap 20, Hamilton comes into the pits off his fresh medium, sitting, I think he was behind Verstappen, Ricciardo, and Russell, I think, and Mick Schumacher. So he boxes on lap 20, slaps on a new set of hards, and Merck tell him, push as hard as you can for as many laps as you can. So he goes on a rampage. And doing that, Merck managed to undercut most of the people he was fighting with. So they undercut Verstappen, they undercut Daniel Ricciardo, and they even undercut George Russell, I think, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure. And what a strategy call that was. And then Hamilton went on a rampage and overtook everybody and was running 4th at a stage just behind Sainz. And Sainz and him were kind of, closing in on the top 2. But then Merck made another decision, which was obviously what they were going to do. So they box again, Merck. So they box Hamilton again and slap on a brand new set of mediums. And this is where the race really gets interesting. 20 laps to go. Hamilton's on a brand new fresh set of medium tyres, and he's sitting 5th with only Alonso, Vettel, Ocon, and Sainz ahead of him. Easy dub, right? Easy dub. You guys suck at these questions today. Can you not get the answer? Of course it's not an easy dub. Because Alonso made that freaking Alpine the width of a bus, or even a small city. It was ridiculous. His defense, it was brilliant. It was great to watch, It was robust. It was slightly a bit on the edge, on the side of dodgy, but not too dodgy. It was fair. It was fair defense. Basically like Mick Schumacher defended, to be honest. And yeah, it was amazing to watch him hold Hamilton up, and that is the only reason that Ocon and Vettel and that Ocon won the race. It's the only reason, because once Hamilton got past Alonso, there was like 3 laps to go, or 4 laps to go. And Hamilton then, the very next lap, got past Sainz quite easily, and then closed literally in on Vettel and Ocon at 3.5 seconds a lap. So he was, by the time they finished the race, he was right on them. So Alonso holding Hamilton up for that long period of time is the only reason Ocon won that race. The only reason. So the end finishes ended up being, I can't remember all the positions off the top of my head, and me being the idiot that I am, I forgot to put the positions here on me. But I know there were 6 non-finishes, and I know that Bottas and Stroll both have 5-place grid penalties for the next race. I know that sadly Vettel was disqualified after the race for having too little fuel in his car because the FIA state very clearly in the rules that they need to have at least 1 liter in the car. And guess what? Seb didn't have at least 1 liter in the car. So, you know, Aston Martin are going to review it and challenge it, but it's purely they're looking for straws. They're clutching on straws because it's a rule. It is the rule. It's a technical rule. The stewards applied completely fairly the rule for technical breaches. And sadly, I'm a Vettel fan as much as you guys. I love Vettel. I think he's an amazing guy, amazing driver, and he deserved the 2nd place. It's not his fault that the team didn't leave at least 1 liter in the car. But sadly, that's Formula One for you. And so the positions went Ocon won his race. Amazing, amazing race. Hamilton, after Vettel got disqualified. Sainz got on the podium. Amazing for him. Fernando Alonso in 4th. In 5th, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry. 5th was Gasly. 6th was Yuki Tsunoda. 7th was Latifi. 8th was Russell. So basically what I'm trying to say here is the one bloody race Williams score points, Latifi outscores Russell. Really? When I saw that at the end of the race, I felt physical pain. I wanted to go jump off a very tall building. That's how bad it was. It's like so unfair for poor Russell. But I mean, he was double points finish for Williams. Amazing. It was Latifi, Russell, and then behind them was Verstappen, I think, in 8th, and 9th was no, Verstappen was 9th. I don't know who was 8th. Sorry. I know that Ricciardo gets bumped into the points at least after that, but I mean, poor Ricciardo. He's really struggling with that McLaren. It's very sad to watch. I'm a huge Danny Rick fan, and I know everybody knows he has the speed. It's obviously just that car does not suit him at all. But regardless, guys, I think that is where I am going to call this very different video. And I do hope you all enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And that's me checking out. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.